Hello. Welcome to our second episode of our podcast, Crowdaholic. My name is Patrick Dye, and here's my wonderful co-host, Harry Fazzone. How are you doing, Harry?
I'm just well. How are you, Patrick?
I'm doing okay. I think every single time, super bored, but get through it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Back to school in the fall. There's a lot of things that are saying now people don't think we're going to reopen.
I don't know. I think there might be sort of like a second wave, seeing how people in other states are just going ham and doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not there was this I read there was this party in Alabama, right? Alabama has a lot of
Parties.
Alabama had in this, they had a party. There was one group that had a party. It was called the first to get coronavirus party, where the person who gets coronavirus first, who gets COVID first, they win a prize or something. And bro, wow, when you see that, it gets you so pissed off.
Yeah. I mean, at least that person's safe. At least that person's safe.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense if they weren't at capacity. Everybody get it real quick so we can take care of this round, and then when the whoever's more at risk has to go out, they get it, and there's no more young kids in the hospital. But yeah, it is crazy. I mean, nobody's doing the same thing, so it doesn't really matter in New York if we're taking all the precautions, if there's still people coming in. I mean, I know Cuomo just did a new quarantine for people coming in the state from high-risk states.
Yeah.
But if everyone's doing it anyway, it's almost impossible to control travel between the states.
I think New York has done well other states, but I think that's looking back off in retrospective.
We'll see. I guess what we don't everyone's saying how Sweden has so many cases. As a model for how they did a bad job, but I guess we'll see the actual number of people who die as a percent of population later. I mean, you can't know right now at all.
Yeah.
Hard, I mean, New York, we think we did a good job, hopefully.
No, because in retrospective, there were a lot of people in New York who died because of this virus. In the beginning, I think people in the beginning where COVID-19 actually popped up, that was the moment where sort of from then on, it's gotten better only because we got the brood of it first. And then, other states who actually didn't get coronavirus first, now they're starting to rank
Plus, of course, once we started testing and stuff, it got a lot worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's also one of the things.
When we started, it was really bad. That's always going to happen. Yeah. It makes sense.
Trump said one thing, and then he was like, we should stop testing because there's so many, from the people that we've tested, there's so many people. We should stop testing because it looks super duper bad. And then there was this one person on New York Times who said the government's overreacting. At the beginning of in the spring where COVID actually popped up. And then if you're going to say that the government overreacted, no, they didn't. They should have reacted. They really underreacted, I guess, because Trump got the notice about COVID-19 in January and in the winter in 2019. And he should have done something then instead of later.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough though when you don't have there's very little data on fatality, at least publicly available. Maybe the government had more information, and that's why they did decide to do what they did. But when they called the lockdown, we really just knew that it was spreading fast. We didn't have any real numbers as far as deaths and stuff, And we still don't have great numbers. The FDA says we're getting 1 in 8, the director. 1 in 8 new cases are being diagnosed. So I don't know. I feel people, it's hard to say when we should have locked down. And I mean, it's also dangerous to lock down. So many people are not going to get other basic medical care that could be life-saving,
or just employment in general.
A lot of people aren't going to hospitals to get cancer screenings. So that's a big deal.
That's a big deal. Because people are scared to at the hospitals there's disease and everything like that, especially.
Exactly. And I mean that might still happen if we didn't lock down, but it's still true that a lot of people are dying as a result of not just the panic, but actually the the mandates, from the government.
Yeah.
Plus, like, our trade is pretty valuable, like with other countries. We're constantly putting American money into other places,
I feel like after this, countries are kind of gonna like look down upon America because like we've done such a terrible job with COVID-19.
Yeah, I don't know that. I think people think within America that around the rest of the world like looks up to us as like a great power that's watching out. I mean, that's happening less and less. People are seeing that less and less. But I think like a lot of Americans think that's true, and I think most countries just see us as the superpower that stays on top. I think they're happy to see us fail. I don't think they're like the United States. Wow, they messed up. It's like that's some big surprise.
What do you mean?
I think there's already a lot of enmity towards the United States from other countries around the world, like that we should
before COVID-19. I would say even before like Trump administration.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So like, they're not just gonna look down at us now because that happened. They're just happy that it did happen like that. Like, maybe they're not happy that the United States suffered worse from COVID, but they weren't like looking up to us before necessarily. I think.
No, I mean like before this, the U.S. was pretty powerful. Well,
I think we're still pretty powerful.
No, yeah, I know. But like with this situation and then with Black Lives Matter on top of COVID-19, it's just
it would be not very stable.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe some of like the other countries will be like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible that we're seeing this play, but I think.
No, because look, do you know what Huawei is?
No, Chinese company.
Yeah, it's a Chinese company. Okay, that's all you really need to know. It's a company, and then America obviously doesn't really like China, especially Trump, and then Trump's like, stay away from that, and then Mike Pompeo, like all the government officials in China.
Mm-hmm.
Not in China, in America, they hate Huawei. Because China might be implanting like surveillance stuff in like telecom, which is what Huawei does, and then Huawei is going into like places in Great Britain and like Germany, but America obviously doesn't want that. America wants China to be like in Asia, stop spreading all that. But then Britain is starting to like take on Huawei, but just with like super, eagle eyes.
Yeah. I think like a lot of the reason why Europe did like us so much was, after World War II, there was a Marshall.
Yeah.
A lot of U.S. influence, a lot of U.S. soldiers, money.
Yeah. And then even after there was like.
But like really until the end of the Cold War. But I think Europe is becoming less valuable geopolitically to the United States. So basically our relationship is getting worse because we don't need to spend time there or money. And China is doing that. China was one of the first people that went to help Italy with their COVID outbreak. So like they're gaining a lot more soft power and influence around the world because like we don't really need to as much anymore. Maybe China is starting theirs, whereas like we had nothing to gain in Europe except for maintaining relations.
I think it's also that U.S. like I don't know. But I'm gonna say that U.S. like they don't really want to do anything.
Yeah, we have a lot less, we have higher paying jobs generally, but like that's just because we have a lot of regulation in the industries that we do have. But like, of course, Chinese goods are gonna be cheaper.
Yeah.
So like, would we expect the British to buy our stuff just because they're friends with us? No, they're gonna buy what's cheaper probably. So it could be an opportunity for China, but China's probably less stable themselves anyway. They're closer to the average citizen saying they've had enough of the way the government's working. Not really though. They're improving a lot, but there's still a lot more people close to poverty that might revolt,
I feel like China would have a good control over that though. Like now, in modern times. What? I can't hear you.
With their surveillance?
Oh, yeah. What?
their surveillance systems and stuff? Like
Huh?
they would be able to stop it easier, like if there was unrest.
Huh?
Like China has a lot of cameras and stuff in public
Yeah.
places. They have the
That
social.
would help. That would help in
You're
controlling.
saying that would help put it down.
Huh?
You're saying that would help put it down if that did happen, if there was a rebellion.
Well, I guess, because like, look, with COVID-19 in China, China has been like really good at keeping it within China and sort of not keeping it within China, but like able to track the people
Yeah.
down. That with when you get infected with COVID, you obviously like pass it on to people.
Mm,
Surveillance, China's able to like look at the person who had it, and then using surveillance, they can see who that person.
You're saying they're less weakened by COVID itself. Like they're better at responding, so they don't have to deal with as much.
No, like in America, America hasn't really done much to
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a
COVID.
lot of the government too. The governments in America are weaker because it's federal. You know, the states have a lot of power. Like
Yeah.
they're always battling over control, whereas the power in China is in the central state, and they make the decisions and make things happen. Like I can definitely.
But also, it's also like it's with the people as well. It's with the people in like America. They don't really want to cooperate at all. Like on the news, you see it everywhere. People are just having parties together,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
distancing, no wearing masks.
that's kind of like America is not really that free in terms of like regular human rights necessarily. I
What do you
mean,
mean?
compared to China, I guess so they're more free expression and stuff. But like,
Oh yeah,
there's censorship and stuff in America beyond like a lot of European countries. Um, and
I
like,
don't know about that. I
yeah,
don't
I'm
know.
just saying like, it's not like the land of the free completely, but I can see why American culture is resistant to that stuff. Like, it's an individual
Yeah. Oh yeah.
government. Why? What they have to do something for other individuals. Um, it works a lot better in a communist state where they're built around working for the whole good of the state and the
Yeah.
society.
Like like the people in America, like they think that if you don't wear a mask, it shows that you're a man, and if you do, it shows weakness. And then I feel like that's just bred within the United States of America to show that America's the most powerful, and then stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's probably pretty recent though. I mean, like there wasn't a big resistance to wearing a mask. It was just kind of not normal in the United States for like a
Yeah.
while.
Oh yeah, that's also one of the things. Yeah.
More normal in other places. Now that the government's mandating it, there's a lot of people that just want to be like, oh no, they're telling me
Yeah.
like,
Rebel.
um, but also like there's also just a feeling that the government telling them you have to is a reason in and of itself not to do it. Like if the government's exercising all that control right now on speculation, like we don't know that they had numbers to tell us how dangerous COVID was originally, but they had stay-at-home orders and all of that stuff. So maybe if they're doing all that, like if they're taking all these measures without proper information, public information available to the public, like there might be a reason to resist them just because it's such a power grab. You know, it looks like to some people.
Yeah.
Like this is the first time we've had that stay-at-home orders like this on the scale, basically ever.
Yeah. But I just feel like if the government doesn't sort of, we've had like obviously the U.S. is built on like democracy and all that, and freedom and all that. So I guess people of America are sort of they're prone to rebelling or prone to making their decision on what's right or what's wrong.
Yeah, not based on the government.
Even if the people's like idea is actually wrong, it might cause like more mayhem and all that. And then
just because it's what the people said.
Yeah, exactly. And then the government might not like if the government were to like sort of oppress the people, then like people in America would be like, oh, we're getting to be more communist or something like that.
Mm.
And we have to push the government off, and that would cause more rebellion and all that.
Yeah. People are a lot less controllable.
If the government lets the people like sort of do whatever they want, they will have like less problems. But then I guess that's sort of a trade-off that America has to make, or maybe maybe they don't have to make.
I mean, it's pretty interesting. A lot of people are saying we're in another Cold War with China, and I mean, what's a Cold War anyway? You know, like it's basically just a competition of technology and stuff. But with China, but rather than economic Cold War where there's competing systems of capitalism and communism, it's not autocracy, but basically a strong centralized government that doesn't really move based on the whims of the people versus democracy. Like much of Europe is democratic right now, but some countries are going, like there's a wave of authoritarianism in Europe right now. So like that's kind of the form of the cultural or like systems war that's going on between China and the United States, like the two biggest powers. Obviously.
But it also feels like the U.S. is sort of losing hold on the world that they usually had.
We basically forced democracy on Europe. You know, like, I mean, I guess it came naturally for like before World War II, but like, I mean, we did come in and force a lot of American ideals. We do it in the Middle East. We go build democracy, you know, spread democracy.
I feel like now it's like sort of decreasing.
Yeah. We could be losing our grip. Like it's not like you're right. That's what I'm saying. I guess is that we did go out there and build it ourselves. So like it's pretty fragile.
And I feel like the U.S. is sort of, I don't know, jealous or envious of just what's happening right now, and how the U.S. is sort of in the midst of all this trouble with dealing with like past history like slavery and then Black Lives Matter, and then
that's a big mix of things.
Yeah.
But I think that even though obviously it was George Floyd's murder was like the biggest trigger of the race and justice riots that are going on right now.
Yeah.
For police brutality riots, perhaps. COVID probably did have a big role in having this one be one of the largest rounds of protests that we've seen. You know, like I think a lot of people lost their jobs temporarily. Like we had like 30% unemployment for a time, or at least that was on the news. I'm not sure if those numbers actually ever came out or where they were, but like basically a lot of people were in bad situations anyway, and then protests happened about something that's a pretty like regular occurrence, like police brutality, pretty regular in the United States and in other places too, like regular and consistent. So like I think COVID probably had something to do with all of this coming out right now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like it makes sense that they all came together, not just pure coincidence. Otherwise, I mean, it could just be that it just happened to be an instance of such brutality that was recorded. You know, it just happened to.
I think maybe COVID sort of weakened some stuff, some moral stuff, and then after George Floyd's killing and murder, then all these things started to pop up.
Yeah, you mean like within the police? Or
yeah.
Like, yeah, I could see that. I mean, they've been doing things like, well, I guess now they've been fighting protests and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I could definitely see that being a problem for them. Like, you get more instances like that when they're supposed to be enforcing like a lockdown rather than break up stuff and you know. But
now
having jobs is a big thing as far as like if people are unemployed, they're in tougher conditions and more likely to protest. You know.
Yeah.
And COVID might have just triggered that too, like basically the racial aspect of that, where African Americans are more likely to live in poverty. Like if COVID triggered that, it's really a protest about a lot more, you know.
Yeah.
But like I can see how COVID would be part of that.
Mm-hmm. It's like you have to feel bad for like all the people who are who got unemployed, became unemployed because of COVID-19.
Exactly. I mean, it makes sense that there would be some unrest.
Yeah.
It's like it always happens when people are unemployed. There's always unrest or sometimes.
Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, I
How
mean,
about how about sports, bro? You
oh,
watch it?
everything's
Sports?
on now, right?
What?
Baseball and football are both on for the fall, right?
Soccer's on too.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
yeah. Premier League's back on.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we'll
The
see.
Premier League is?
I wonder how that works if they like have limited capacity at stadiums and stuff. You know,
No.
what they do
Wait, in America or what?
anywhere really.
Oh no, for Premier League, they don't have any people actually.
Nobody in the stands.
Well, okay, there's like 10.
Yeah, yeah, like coaches and trainers.
No, it's funny because during the games, like they use the sound effects, I think, from FIFA, the video game, and then they use that for the audiences like noises and stuff during the
Players all hype.
yeah. No, and then
That sound.
and yeah, and it's like I think it's behind the goal. Like there's like a whole panel of screens that shows people's reactions to the game. So then
Hilarious.
what?
It's hilarious.
Yeah, no. And then if a team scores right in front of their like the opponent, no. If the team scores right in front of their own fans, then the fans will just probably like get the players mad, get the defenders mad, and then
they're just a fuck around. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's probably a good way to do it. Just have fake people. But like, are they gonna get pissed?
maybe
Like
right. I mean, usually they are still right in front of their fans, but like they're super like up close and stuff. Like they can see it.
Yeah. And they probably make them like extra annoying because they can. Now that they're not real people, they're actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like baseball, they were having like negotiations between the players and the coaches, where like I don't know what they were negotiating exactly, but basically whether they would have games, and whether like it was at the players' own risk if they got COVID and stuff like that. But I think they're doing it now. That's what I heard. Football, apparently, they just don't care. They're like, bring it on. America. We're gonna do it.
Yeah. I mean, like for contact sports, I mean, I guess all sports are contact sports.
Yeah.
Like golf. But
I know what you mean, though. Like you're on top of each other. Yeah. I mean, see if there's another resurgence, they might mandate that they can't. Like, we'll see how, like, if they limit gatherings again, you know. They were doing
because football's an American sport, like straight American sport, I don't think they might do like a little bit of like social distance.
They don't know the laws.
I don't. Maybe they don't. Well,
probably not. Yeah. I think most of the sports are having seasons as of right now.
Yeah. They're still continuing their
reopening too. Yeah, they're all planning, but
yeah.
Who knows? Do you hope we have school?
I mean, I don't know. I guess.
I really don't want to go back. I feel like, I mean, it's probably bad that a lot of people are missing. Like, the parents too, that have to watch like younger kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that sucks.
Well, like personally, I don't want to go back to school. Like,
wait, there was a New York Times article. What was it called again?
I don't know, but are you talking about the one about how you can either have a kid or a job?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's the problem for most people.
I mean, like most of the times, like they get their parents, like the parents get their parents, get the grandparents to like watch the kid, and then they go to their job. But like then again, you might, as the parent going out like into the world and be like doing their job, might back the coronavirus, so they might have to quarantine. It's all a big situation.
Yeah, I mean, like they're worried, and if their kids are going, I mean, even when their kids aren't going, maybe they don't want them around the grandchildren. The grandparents, like they might be at risk.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's also one of the things is like I don't understand why people don't wear masks. Like if you don't wear a mask, okay, like don't do it. I guess don't do it for yourself, but do it for like the old people and do it for the people who actually like might not even be able to get over the virus if they actually do get
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think wearing a mask is not that hard to like protect
it.
other people. But I don't think you should be forced to wear it. Like the government has no place telling you have to wear a mask. I think if a store says we want to protect people that are our customers that are going to our store, so you have to wear a mask in here and in the parking lot, like that makes sense. That's fine, and I think they should do that to protect their people. But like, who is the government to tell you where you have to wear a mask? You know, I can see where people are coming from saying that's a bad precedent. Like that's not a good direction for our country to be going.
Well, I think the government should like tell people to wear masks.
I mean, like, it makes sense probably from like a public health perspective for sure.
Well, obviously, everybody wants to be healthy.
Yeah, me too.
Me too, dude.
But yeah, it's still like everybody wants to be healthy, but that doesn't mean that the government doesn't say you can only pollute if it's essential, you know? Like the government doesn't care to stop and protect everybody's health as one single collective any other time, you know? Sometimes it's like the EPA, I guess, but even then it's not like mandatory. It's, you pay tax for it. That theoretically helps people. I'm just saying like the government is basically taking your body as private property to say that you have to be wearing something.
I feel like the government should say it. No, they are saying it because they want to make the people stay healthy.
That's fine, I agree. But like then we should go full China, you know? Because they did the best at improving their economy, improved the health of everybody.
No, because like the U.S. wants to open up and like the U.S. is opening up, but like because you're opening up, you should wear a mask.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people should, even if they're not worried or they don't care about the laws. Like it's just nice for other people. It's not that hard to do. But I mean, I just don't. I have a problem with you having to wear it.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, at that point, you could say like, there's a disease transmitted by sweat. We all have to wear long sleeves from now on. I mean, yeah, you're a lot less likely to transmit that disease. You could probably publish things that said you have a 15%. You're 15% as likely to get it if you wear long sleeves, versus the average.
I guess.
And then we'd all be
long sleeves. Well.
I mean, it's obviously different. Like people are dying and people are worried, and I think everybody should be wearing a mask. It's just like the laws are a bit much. They shouldn't be there. It's not the government's place to tell us how to do medicine or public safety.
And then I think if people think the way you think, then maybe that's why people are like going out and not wearing masks.
Maybe, but like I always wear a mask. You know, I think it's people that say I don't want to listen to this law because it's a law. Not because, like, I think it's a bad law, but I am wearing a mask, you know, just because I don't want to hurt people.
If the government made wearing mask a law, then, like, why would they make murder a law? Murder, like, if you commit murder, you have to go to jail.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing.
The government wants to protect people.
Yeah, to protect the collective. But at some point, you have to draw a line in where you're willing to do that. Like, China is doing a better job probably as a whole, as a government, because they're not so divided and all over the place, you know? Mm-hmm. So like, but most people in the United States would not want to live in China. Even though the government, it seems more effective. They set a goal and they're more likely to get it done.
Yeah, it's a weird thought. It's really weird thought.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It just, if you think about like, you're just giving up your freedom to the government and then the government has more power. The governments that have their citizens having the least freedom can control
them. But them telling you to wear a mask, that's not like an important thing. Like that doesn't take away your freedom.
Well, it's not. But I mean, the fact that they can do it legally means that they can tell you to wear something in the name of public health in the future. So they can call anything public health. You know, it's not really.
No, I think if they made wearing masks a law, mm-hmm. I think people would be able to judge where that line is in the future.
Well, no, I mean, once you make it a law, people can't judge. That's the whole point. They're going to go to jail if they judge themselves, you know? So if you want people to judge, you should have no laws. Let the people judge their own and let it play out how it will, you know? But
Then
like,
it'd be like chaotic and stuff.
well, I mean, it's the opposite of China. Or, I mean, China's an imperfect example of a super authoritarian government because they let you do stuff. But like, I'm just saying, it's a spectrum between lawlessness and everything is regulated. And they're all the same. It's not like the United States is different from like fundamentally different from China. They just have more freedoms as far as choosing the political system and more rights that are written down explicitly, you know? But like, yeah, it's the same thing in the end. So, I mean, I think that people shouldn't have to wear laws or have to pay for murder trials, you know? That's just one end of the spectrum. And I think you should go on one end or the other. Or people should have to do that stuff because it's a problem, but maximize the good of the society as a whole through a strong central government, you know? But the United States is just built to have a government that can't do too much in a lot of ways, you know? That's what the whole.
If it's built off of that, then people can just. If it's built off of that, people. Wait.
It's basically, I'm saying it's built to limit government's power.
I know. If it's built to limit, okay, then people before made the government limited.
Yeah.
So that means that the people made the government. And that also means that people know where the line is drawn.
Yeah.
Is.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing about like the Constitution. A lot of people will say like, oh, the line is obviously right here. Look what they said. And then other people will be like, obviously the line is not here. This is vague on purpose so that we can interpret it, you know?
I guess. Yeah.
Like, even though people do know, they'll argue all day about what it is, where that line is. But like theoretically, I think the Constitution does that, which just makes us weak. But I mean, like you said, humans made it, so humans can change it. It's not like it's some fundamental thing that's like inherent to our society. If we want to go change the amendments, we can do it. That's why they're amendments. They're added or changed. But yeah, like, it could become China. We just won't.
Yeah. Well, like no. If the government made wearing masks a law, like that wouldn't show that you are like super oppressive, though.
Well, I mean, I think it doesn't show that it's oppressive because like there's no exact definition of oppression. Like, I mean, there is one like on Merriam-Webster or whatever, but like everything can be considered oppression. Like taxation can be considered oppression. Like if a majority vote to do something, like 3-2,
that's oppression.
Yeah, and then they force you to comply with them. That is oppression in some form. So like anything that the government does can be considered oppression then. Either using force to make sure it happens. Otherwise, if it were voluntary, you'd be doing it yourself.
Yeah, I guess.
But the mask thing is just like one example where they're using a lot of power in a way that we don't consider it too oppressive. But that they do just have a lot of power that they can now exercise legally. We're saying that the government has that kind of power to say what people have to wear in certain places. And I mean, let's say government owned, like public places are government owned, you know, like a park, a parking lot, I think.
Yeah.
But like that's a problem is that if a private company were deciding, then certain people could say, no, I don't want to wear a mask. I want to take the risk and then go to another company. And the place that required you to wear a mask would either go out of business or do well, you know, because people voluntarily decided to go there based on their mask policy. So like you can see that if every public asset, like parks and stuff, became like that or privatized, you could have a system of competition where people could decide whether they wanted to wear masks or not. But it's just wrong when the government does it as a whole and forces you to do it by threat of gun. Like that's what they have is police officers with guns. That's how the law works.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for that's it for our second episode. So hope you guys liked.
All right. See you guys. It's been nice.
How big is your lawn?
It's not my lawn. It's like there's other houses here.
Oh. Okay.
Danger zone.
Because it's always so humid here. I don't even know why.
Yeah, it was raining.
Yeah. Absolutely unreal. Okay, cool. Hope this episode was interesting.
I know. I hope this is good. I hope you like it. I hope they watch towards the end when we get into it too. About politics.
I think we should actually start arguing more.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it looks good.
We should just plan out like what we think.
I wasn't really arguing there, but I was just saying like random arguments,
Cool.
Yeah, that was fun. We could do that. Especially once you have people on, it would be a lot of fun. Like if people came on and like argued.
No. We can't have. We'll have like one person at a time.
Okay. Yeah. Not like a big class of people yelling. No.
Hecklers.
Yeah. No. Just like one person at a time. Just have them talk.
Oh, yeah. No, because they would all be in the meeting room, and then like
just add one at a time and remove them one at a time.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. All right, we'll start talking to people about who we should get.
Oh yeah, make sure you promote it because I've already promoted to.
Yeah, I'm gonna start talking to people.
Okay. No, make sure.
We got people to get on the show though.
No, we should do that later. I think if we're not like sort of popular enough.
You're right. We need some people first.
Well, I know. Okay, how about this?